Okay, here we go. Here we go. Another day. Good morning, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, excuse me. What's on the plan for today? We're going to finish off this block set. It's going to be pretty much the same pattern as yesterday. I've got some noisy work to do first. We've got to clean off this last thing. So the first 3 or 4 minutes are going to be noisy. Actually, I don't know. I don't really have a full stream here. What we've got this morning is going to finish this off, bang this up a bit, get in there, clean up the rest of it, and that'll be the end of this block set. And what else have I got today? I've got to start another one, another work. The next loot print is coming up. But that's not going to take a full stream either. I don't really know what's going on this morning. Anyway, when does the first test print come? It can be done now, except I don't have the preparation to do it. I've got to go and find a bunch of brushes. I've got to go and get a bunch of pigments. If I'd had a bunch more time to prepare this morning, I could have perhaps done a test print today. But I didn't get everything ready. I wonder if I should try it. Anyway, whatever. Let's carve it first. Let's get it carved. Let's carve it first. Okay, here we go. Hammer time. Give me a few minutes of noisy work and then we'll settle down to something more quiet. Start with the noise that drives everybody away. Sorry about that. Okay, let's do this. Camera away from the table. Check, check. No earthquake. Okay. Which is the grain direction? Even the softer board here, the one that I've chosen, you know, we've got cherry that's really hard cherry and cherry that's medium cherry. Even the one I've chosen for this board, which should be a relatively soft type, still has hard patches. This whole area here is really rock hard. You can see the grain pattern. We've chosen a part of the wood where it should be softer, but this is really hard. Rock hard. See, there's a knot there. Ooh. like stone. I shouldn't worry too much about this corner because that's really not going to be used. This block is really just going to be for this gradation area here. So. Sorry about this, John. Yeah, it did that hard area. I mean, we chose this block, absolutely. If that hard area, if I had been careless and had chosen a block where that kind of hard area was in the print area, it would be impossible. The pigment just won't go inside. It'll just sit on top. We had that with the woman sitting in the woman sitting in the water. One little area of it was really, really hard, and it comes up white in the finished print. We saw that in the very first impression that I pulled off it. So there's no way we could use such a piece of wood. You know, if it was for key blocks, you can use really hard stuff because it doesn't matter. There's no wide color zones. So when we were laying out these blocks, I chose this one because I knew that zone right there could be put into an area where we wouldn't use it. It might be a touch hard here. I'm not sure. I think I'm okay. Today we don't have too many party reservations. It really is slowing down because of the rainy season. What we're finding is we're getting more drop-in parties. People are walking along the street, they see our sign, wherever they come in out of the rain. And what happened yesterday, we had chain parties. I know there was one or two or something reservations in advance. We did those, but while we were doing those parties, other people came up the stairs, just really whatever, just to get out of the rain, saw the party happening, said, what's that, can I do it too? And signed up for the next one, you know. So we ended up doing parties all day long yesterday, just by drop-in people. And it seems that's going to be really affecting our business once we get on the first floor. There's going to be much more drop-in action. Of course, that's why we booked the first floor, you know. The thing for me that makes it more difficult is because our print party reservations have been mostly online in advance so far, that's allowed me to schedule a staff. We know how many people to book because we know roughly how many parties are going to be there. But now, with drop-in parties happening, we won't have enough staff, or I'll have to book more staff in advance. So we've already talked about it with the staff. We're going to switch from a system where there's 2 people plus me here every day we're going to switch to a system where there's 3 people plus me every day. So my labor costs go up right there, 50%, bang, plus the new rent. So I'm really not sure about this idea about going downstairs. And it gets more print parties, but print parties for Japanese people almost never result in sales. These people are not traveling. And print parties by themselves, if we do a print party for 1 or 2 or 3 people and they don't do any shopping as well, then that's a loss for us actually. A bit silly to try and talk while I'm making this noise, isn't it? Sorry about that. Let me finish this up. Another couple of minutes here. They're going to hit here. People are going to hit here. But the deal with this is it's going to be a gradation. We're going to have a gradation. We're going to draw lines on the block to show people where to put the brush. The brush will be in motion like this. We're going to draw marks on the brush, top, bottom, get it all lined up so that they can put a gradation here. We're going to draw lines everywhere. And the brush motion will be side to side, side to side, side to side, side to side, like this. So this area has to come out. Otherwise, our printers would just do it this way. But the beginners are going to smash, smash, smash. So this area's got to come out for sure. Yeah, I know. Discounts, nay. So what we're doing, what we're thinking of doing, what we would like to do but probably can't. Just let me finish this noisy part, then we'll talk about this. Yeah, let's leave it like that. I'll have to do more. Once we do testing, we'll find out how far we have to clear it. Let's leave it. I really don't like doing too much of the noisy banging on the stream. You know. It's just disruptive. Let's switch to the clearing, lighter clearing. Okay, quiet. Well, someone's asking, do the print party, but it has to be forced shopping. I mean, of course, that's not such a good idea. You offer a product, you can't offer a product with a catch, But one idea that's on the table here for consideration, and I think I can't do this, but economically this is what we would like to do, is for the Japanese customers. If we were talking about these print parties, and what you offer it is the print party, instead of being the current 2,000 yen, if the print party basic price for Japanese would be 5,000 yen. And what it is, it's a print party set. They get the print party experience just as it is now for the 1 hour or so, which of course includes the drink, the coffee, whatever, as it goes on. And then at the end of it, we pull down a screen on the wall, and pull down an opening shutter, and there's 10 different prints on there. The kind of prints that are in our Hunger Club right now, the ones that sell for 3,000 yen. And they choose from which one of those they would like to take home, plus their own print that they've made, of course. So it's a print party set, the 2,000 for the party and the 3,000 shopping, but we don't say so. That's what we would sort of absolutely like to do. But you can't do that. You can't have one price and one product for Japanese people, and then another price and another product for the foreign visitors. It's just not right. The simple fact of the matter is, these days, most Japanese people don't want to buy stuff. It's just not part of the culture anymore. So I get it. So the print experience has to be something that is economically viable by itself. Which means we've either got to raise the price or stop doing it for single people. I mean, in other words, you don't do it when there's just one person. There has to be a minimum number of people in the group. If there's 3 or 4 people at 2,000 yen each, it's 8,000 yen. I've got 2 staff people, it takes an hour and a half. Then we're okay, I can make that fly. But when just one person comes, or 2 people come, then I'm in the hole. And with the overseas visitors, it doesn't matter, because enough of them end up doing some shopping as well, that it all balances out in the end. But I can't run 2 price lists, one for Japanese and one for foreigners. It's just not the way to do things. Oh no, we still have a corner that's not popped out here. I'm on camera, right? Yeah. Oh, look at this, comments. I'm sorry, I can't actually read them all when I'm running here. Look at this. Oh, yo. I'll try and catch up to this later, I'm sorry. If you can see this, I think probably what I should do is, let's put the light on and zoom in a bit. Oh, lots of places to finish off here. Let's do that. Okay, let's do it. Fridge is here. It's right over there. Can you not see? He's sitting watching. with these print party blocks, it's really important to get the bottom of these oceans flat, because those people put too much pigment on. It's being used all day long. We found in the print party room that the pigment in the bottom just builds up and up and up and up and up hugely. Everybody puts on too much and they don't know how to pull it off. And when we're rubbing pigment on, we lift it off here bit by bit by bit, but nobody does that in print party, of course. So these areas have to be as flat and as smooth as possible. It's too bad that I'm not right there. I made a hole in exactly the worst possible place. Whatever. Can't be helped. Okay, let's clear this way. Okay, that's that. I think what's left now for this block, what I've got to do is the landing zones for the paper. You all know about the registration marks that we put here. Let me zoom out a bit, see what's going on here. We've got registration marks there. There's the corner mark in a normal, and then there's the little line that goes when we put the paper in. Do I have a sheet of paper? That test sheet we did yesterday. We ourselves, we put it lightly in the corner and lightly in one spot over here. Where is it? There it is, somewhere there. But for the print parties, that's not good enough. For the print parties, we need a much, much wider landing zone. Look at the one I did on the key block. The key block here. There's a huge, it's just a huge landing zone with a giant corner and a giant line. And people just they put the paper in the zone and bump it to the corner, in the zone and bump it to the corner. And that gives them a really good chance of being able to get the paper lined up properly. We ourselves would never use such large registration marks because you can't move them, you can't adjust them easily. But for the parties, that's the part for the course. I think I've got most of them made now. That one's done. This one's done. You can see it, a huge wide. See it, look, it's just a huge wide zone that the paper just gently falls into the corner. This one's done. Yep, that one's also done. Yeah, well, I've got them all done. Good, that one's done. Okay, just this last one then. Okay, this one here, we have to carve that landing zone. And that'll be it. This block set will now be finished. Sorry, I'm missing a bunch of the conversation there. I don't know what you're talking about anyway, so whatever. And I'm going to break some rules here. Break a little bit of a rule. I can zoom in, I think, again. We've got two kinds of big chisels, and you've seen these before. You've seen the chisels that have the hammering end. They're a socket chisel, so you can hammer them as hard as you want. They don't break. That's the point. They're being made for huge amounts of force. It's like a Western concept. The other tools we have, the kentonomi, the one for cutting our registration marks, are not designed to be hammered. They're designed to be used in the hand. But I'm going to hammer it here, because what I want is a really delicate touch at the end here, but if I do it by hand, I'm liable to push too far. And it's funny, actually, I can put, don't worry, I'm not going to make a noise here. This is a tap, tap, tap. I can put more delicate touch on this with the hammer than I can by hand. This is more accurate than pushing by hand, because I can gauge exactly how much power, how far to cut. Bingo. Okay, there's the edge, the most critical part. Now we widen out here. Okay, this has to disappear too. About here, I guess. Questions. Okay, there is a question information here. Oops, sorry. Yeah, we've got a question. Whatever. Have I ever used a woodblock to do any silk screenings? No, I know silk screening is not a block process, right? Silk screening is when you make a screen and you rub ink over the top of it. I know. But no, have I ever done t-shirt work or nothing? Not. In India, they do all their fabric printing, or a great deal of their fabric printing, with woodblocks. They do it upside down from us. They put the fabric on the table, they put the block on top of it, bang, from the back. So there's a lot of people in India, a huge tradition doing that. In Japan, it's the other way around. Chat, questions. Oh, there is a question I didn't see. Oh, that's because it came in during off time. Do I order brushes that have been feathered already, or do I have a shark skin? We have shark skins here. We have a couple of shark skins here, of course. Every printmaking workshop keeps its own shark skins. And we buy brushes in raw form, just untouched. And we do the feathering of the hair ourselves. It's also worth mentioning, I know I don't have too many firm details about this yet, but Matsumura-san here in Tokyo, the guy who is supplying Shina plywood and various kinds of tools and supplies, he has been experimenting with making his own brushes. And I don't know if they're in production yet. I do know they're still experimenting because a couple of our printers have a sample already. He's making his own brushes. Although the traditional brush is a block of wood with hair pulled up into it and then with a cover put on. And the hair is pulled in a long form and it turns up like this, getting stuck inside the hair. He's making brushes from plywood, thick plywood. And the reason he's doing that is because, well, this one's okay, but the traditional brushes, quite often, they split at the ends. And the wood comes apart. So he's making them with plywood. And I tried to sample Dei-chan upstairs. She was using 2 or 3 of his brushes. He had given them to her as a sample. And they look pretty good. No, that's not true. They don't look good. They look awful. But they work. They work. They look pretty good in terms of being able to function. And if I hear more about it, I'll let you know. But it looks like there could be some new brushes online soon. Not from us, from Matsumura-san. There's a need for them. There's a huge market out there. People who are trying to do this printmaking who do want good tools, who don't want to spend too much money on it. There's a huge potential market there. Questions. If you use Japanese printmaking, it comes up in black here, and I can see that. Has Jed ever thought about stuff like Ukiyo-e Heroes t-shirts? Jed used to do t-shirts at the various Comic-Cons he went to, but the logistics killed him. When you show up at a Comic-Con, you've got 6 different t-shirt designs or whatever in X different colors and X different sizes. The logistics are insane. He's got to take like 55, 60, 80 different sizes just to be able to sell one. And what Jed's doing is he gets on an airplane and he flies out each weekend to these Comic-Cons. So putting a box of prints in his luggage is okay, but keeping 50,000 different t-shirts doesn't work. So if you're interested in t-shirts, write to Jed. He's at ukiyoeheroes.com. He may have some left from when he was still doing it, but I think for him, simply the logistics put him out of that business. You know. He's not against the idea. He wears them himself. He gave me one. I've got a Fox Moon t-shirt from Jed. So he's not against the idea. It was the practicality of doing them at the conventions. Okay, I think we're almost ready here. We could fool around with this all day. I think we're good enough for a test. Alright, so what we'll do here, let's have a look at the block set. Let's get this off. Junk everywhere. Alright, so let's do this. Let's announce tomorrow, Sunday stream. I'll prepare all the stuff. Maybe I'll take the camera upstairs. And tomorrow will be the test printing stream for this microwave print at last. I can't do it here and do it now. I've got no brushes, I've got no paper prepared, I've got nothing ready. I can't do it now. The block set is, I think, ready. Let's inspect it. Let's have a look. Here's the key block. Ready to go with its corners ready, outlines. Here is the block that will be the black gradation on the sky. Here's the block that will be the lighter gray gradation on the sky, and it'll be a highlight tone for boats. Here is the block that will be printed in a moderate woody tone, which will give the boats themselves and the sky. We're going to keep this fairly light. We don't want a heavy touch in the sky. Corners are ready. And then this is the block for the alternate blue color. And to compare with the original Great Wave is 8 impressions, and it has 3 levels of blue: light blue, medium blue, and dark blue. And it's got a strong gradation on the sky and a light gradation on the sky. There's a wood color on the boats. There's a very faint tone in the sky up top. So what we'll have is, instead of having 8, we will have 5. The key block, 1 lighter blue, the gray sky gradation, the top sky and top boats, the dark gradation behind the mountain, and the key blocks. That's it. Test printing tomorrow morning, same time, same station, upstairs here. See how it's going to work out. Okay, let's move on. Different work. What have I got? This is not going to take all that long. Let's see what else we've got. Have I ever dabbled in any other woodworking or craftsman skills? Yeah, I know, a little bit. I've made tons of wooden toys. We had what we called the Woody Friend Toy Company here in Japan, in Tokyo, back when I moved here in 1986. Made a bunch of wooden toys, set up, sold in department stores, all kinds of stuff. It was quite an ongoing thing. I quit that in order to do printmaking. And back in Canada, I had I can't say a business, whatever. I made wooden guitars, classic guitars for a while. I think I made 5. I didn't get the 6th one finished. Sold them all. And then furniture too. Just before I went to England after college, I made furniture. Tried different stuff. Okay, let's get work. Loot. Here we are. This is the legendary loot print number 9, design number 9, and this is the key block for it. Number 8 is being carved at the moment, the color blocks. Number 7 is being printed at the moment. Number 6 is being shipped. We've got a real assembly line system going here, and this is the key block for number 9. 10, 11, and 12 are sketched out by Jed, but not designed, not ready for me to start carving. And I don't know if Jed's watching this morning. I haven't seen him here this morning. But the designs have been getting more and more with tiny fine lines. We talked to Jed about the beginning of this series is supposed to be simple, bang, 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 out. They're supposed to be simple, clean, and solid. And yet more and more he's designing with finer lines. No big deal, it's okay, but the series is going to look a bit funny when it's all in a row, one to the other. Okay, let's get this cut. Now you can see the way we do this. This is Jed's brush strokes. He scans them into his computer, puts it into a Photoshop file after drawing it. This is not a Photoshop pen work. This is actually brush work Jed does. Scans it into Photoshop, sends it over to me. We prepare it in terms of putting it into a master copy that we've got, that we've worked out as far as dimensions. I scale it. Jed doesn't care about the size of this file, but I scale it. I've got to fit this thing into a 12 centimeters by 16 centimeters. Yeah, 12 by 16. It looks though like this time he's got the images a centimeter clear on the right side and 15 clear on the left. Is that going to be a bit unbalanced? I don't know. I think it's maybe okay. I'm just quickly drawing the lines to see if it's straight or not. I think we're okay. So the way we do this is this. I've got the registration marks now on the hunch, the tracing. And what I could do, is I could just put this down on the block and paste it down, bang. With no registration marks, I could just roughly position it and paste it down. After I peel everything off, I would then be able to see the carved corners, and I could then carve the corners. But what we found is more accurate is this, is to carve the corners first and then put the paper into the carved corners, which means I've got to cut this at the corners. Maybe. Yeah. Our usual daily warning, right? About a tap. I'm going to make one more banging noise. I've got to tap the cross piece on this. Actually, somebody asked me a while ago about this. Why do I put this one in by hand? And why do I tap with the hammer on this one? Let me just do it first. 3, 2, 1. The reason is the wood grain. This is the grain direction on this wood goes this way. And any piece of wood, you can put your chisel and it basically goes in between the wood grains. It goes down easily right into the wood with no problem. But when you're running across the grain, if you try putting your chisel this way, it just won't go in. Very hard wood. It just doesn't go down into the wood because of the strength of the cross grain. So the tap there just gives me a strong cut into the wood, whereas with the wood going along the direction of the grain, I don't need the power of the chisel. Now, if you've done woodwork, you get that, but this person who asked that question is perhaps someone who has not done any woodwork. So. Junk everywhere. Bit too much glue there. Oh, look at this, we're getting our peel off together. half of the Gumpy has come up together. When I did the spray this morning, I knew this might happen. When I sprayed the Gumpy paper together with the copy paper, I sprayed a bit too heavily. And the Gumpy paper actually has stuck stronger to the copy paper than it did to the block. So our peel has happened automatically. 2/3 of this paper, or whatever it is, has come up. Just left the bottom part. There's the last bit left over. So we had an automatic peel there. I didn't have to do the peel myself. Yeah, that's actually dangerous, because if I do that really not carefully, if I put too much spray glue here, it'll pull the whole thing off, not leaving anything on the block. That was dangerous. Came out okay, got away with it. Somebody's watching today. Okay, this block is now going to be shipped this afternoon down to Kobe, where our young carver Kawasaki Noriko, she lives in Kobe, and she's the one who is doing all our subscription prints this year. So this will be shipped to her this afternoon, and she can get started. Okay, Howard, what's our time here? Auto peel, yeah, so. What's the question here? Take part of this tradition. Yeah. Not quite as appealing. Hi. Okay, now, it's 9 o'clock. There's no wingman coming here today. It's Saturday morning here. Cameron's not here this morning. He never does the weekends. And Dei-chan, the young girl who has been helping also, she's a school kid. She's got lots of other stuff on the weekends. She doesn't come on the weekends. Actually, that sounds backwards, but she's not going to a normal school. She's going to a special something school where there's no real normal school hours. So her time is all up and down over the place, but she never comes on the weekends. So I am now here. I'm finished my work for the morning here. I have nothing else prepared. But what I do have, within reach here, I have a few of my folders of prints. And I thought maybe what I should just perhaps do, this is not anything organized here. Hang on a sec. Maybe a tiny bit of show and tell, I guess, whatever, just to finish off. There's no reason to sit here too long. What have I got here? Yoish. 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 What's this folder? Oh, no, not that one. No, not that one. There's a folder somewhere here. Hang on a sec. Where is it? Find everything that you want except the one you want. Hang on a sec. It's not within reach. Hang on. Give me a sec. I'll be back in a moment. There's a folder of prints. Yoish. There it is. It is within reach. Okay. This is the one I want. Crap, so much stuff here. The next YouTube video, the one that's in preparation right now, is going to be going back a few years to show some of the stuff I did when I first got involved with printmaking. So I brought, as part of the preparation for that video, there were top secret prints in that first folder, so just forget what you saw. As part of the preparation of that upcoming video, which talks about how I got started and worked about printmaking, I went back to my house in Ome and brought one of the earliest folders I have. And you can see what's happened. This thing is so old. Look at this. The plastic is breaking down. Look at this. I didn't even know plastic did this. This is no way to keep prints. Look at this. Plastic is breaking down. This is so old. This would be maybe 19, 1986, I guess somewhere on there. And this is a folder that has some of the first earliest prints I made. And we'll be showing these on the video. So I don't want to blah, 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 blah too much of it. What I can do is, let's have a look at some of these. This is my folder of my, quote, my first prints. And the first stuff I did. I don't have the very, very first print I made. We talked about that before. It was an experiment where I just grabbed a piece of wood from the firewood, literally, chopped some shapes into it to try and print. And it was a total disaster, but it gave me the impetus to try some more. I don't have the exact documentation, which one is first or which one is second. This will be about 1979, 1980 or so. I think the earliest one will be something like this. And this was also, it was a piece of wood that had been left over from construction in the house, and it was a piece of maple. And it taught me not ever to try using maple again. And look at this, you know, one of the first prints, I tried to make an erotic print right back at the beginning. What was I thinking? Anyway, absolutely chaos. There's chips and cracks and pops. It was carved with the wrong side of the line. I couldn't open the eyes. I didn't know how to print. There's marks around the edges. Of course, it's absolute nothing, garbage. None of the lines are straight or anything. But it didn't matter. It was just an experiment to try and figure out how this was going to work. And as soon as it was finished, I pulled one or two copies, tried to pull, and then the wood went back into the fireplace. It wasn't anything I was going to try and keep or work with. But then that gave me enough of a taste to go for it, and I actually then tried making prints. And I wasn't thinking about it in the Japanese sense of a carver and a printer and a designer separately. I was thinking, you've got to be your own artist. But not being an artist, what did I do? It's funny, eh? You know, Kinchiku Gokkei, 5 views of Japanese architecture. I have no idea what I was thinking. It's supposed to be some kind of wall, I guess. I think I had a picture book of scenes from the Japanese Katsura Imperial Villa down in Kyoto. It's this old, funky Japanese, I don't know, wooden building. And maybe this was some kind of bamboo window, something in a plaster wall. And I didn't know what I was doing, but it was an experiment. Carving calligraphy right back at the beginning. Again, they were just experiments. I knew it wasn't going to be a beautiful print. It was just playing with wood, playing with the tools. And at this point, I've got no Japanese tools. There's no carving knife like you see me using here. There's no nothing. It's an X-Acto knife. Actually, I still got it. It's back in the junk drawer in Ome. It's a metal X-Acto knife that you put sort of razor blade things into. So I cut with that. And the printing was done with just watercolor pigments from tubes, and I had no barren, so it was a wooden spoon. That'd be number 1, it's gone. This would be number 2, that's number 3. And number 4. They're just hilarious. They're so bad. They're so bad. I knew in my mind what I wanted. You know, you could see this beautiful sky, deep sky and shadows and an autumn moon. You know, you could see where this thing was sort of wanting to go. No registration, chips everywhere, no clue how to make gradations. Complete chaos. But it's okay, I had no guidance, I had no books, I had no internet, I had no nothing. Just self-scrabbling around. The blocks for these are long gone. They're just thrown into the fireplace. So. And this one I know. By this one, now this will be number 5, I think. This one is absolutely, I had seen by this time, I had found a book of prints by the Canadian printmaker Walter Phillips. And in the video, when I talk about these more carefully with a bit more prepared discussion, I will show what I was trying to do. If somebody can maybe Google it, Walter Phillips printmaker. And Phillips, I think, has 2 L's and 2 P's. Phillips, Walter Phillips printmaker. He's a Canadian printmaker who, long dead, generation before me. He was working in the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s. He died in the 60s, I think, when I was just a little kid. And there is a book out there, if you ever have a chance to see this in a used bookstore. It's called The Tranquility and the Turbulence. Somebody can, whatever, Google it now. It'll probably be $1,000 on Amazon used bookstore. It is the mother lode of inspiration for anybody who is doing woodblock printmaking in a sort of modern landscape style or watercolor landscape style. So Walter Phillips, that's the guy. Even before I had much of a Japanese influence, I saw Phillips and thought, oh wow, I could do that. He's a Canadian guy. There's a landscape theme here. So I tried it. And unfortunately, Phillips had something I don't have. Phillips had, artistic ability and training, and he'd been drawing and sketching and doing that stuff all his life. So when he decided to try making prints, he had the background in creating art. He'd been watercolor painting since he was a young man. That's the book, Tranquility and the Turbulence. And I don't care if it costs $1,000. Buy it if you're interested in making these prints and studying them and learning and seeing how beautiful prints can be. It's staggeringly, stunningly beautiful. And it had a huge impact on me, sort of, in that it sent me down the wrong path. Because if I also had had the background in drawing and painting and creating images, I would have also gone that way, and I would have made some beautiful Canadian landscape stuff. Absolutely. $200, a steal. Steal. Buy it now. It's fantastic. I don't have a copy here. My copy is back in Ome. I can show you. It's a giant coffee table book, an inch thick, full of beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Walter Phillips on all. Roger Boulay is the guy. He was a friend of the Phillips family. He's made the website. That website you linked before, sharecom.ca. That's set up by Roger Boulay. He's a Canadian, researcher, journalist, whatever, who has set this up. US $140. Buy 2 copies, please. It's just incredible. You will never, ever, ever regret it if you're interested in making some of these prints. Anyway, long story short, I had seen that, so I came to try and do something similar. Now again, as I said, I just didn't have the background in drawing and painting and creating images, and nor was I any good at printmaking. But I can see where I was stumbling towards. It was something to do with landscape, soft, watery color. If I had followed that route, I would have eventually been able to make quite presentable prints in that style. They wouldn't have had any heartfelt warmth or something because I wasn't an artist, but I would have got better at the technique, and I would have been able to make prints more similar to what Phillips ended up doing. He was sort of self-taught, sort of not self-taught. Back in England, he had access to the techniques and things that had been supplied by Udo Shibata. When he was in Britain in the 20s and 30s, that's when Udo Shibata was still there, teaching those guys and talking to them and showing what was going on. So Phillips had a bit of guidance from the Japanese setup from Udo Shibata. Okay, this is not going to go on too long. I'll show you one more page and then we'll cut it off. This is not going to be a long lecture on my whole entire history. I've got nothing prepared. But it's sort of a step-by-step. I tried first just making some sort of shapes, and it was Japanese influenced. I got sidetracked thinking that I should be an artist myself and create prints from zero. That ran into a problem because, as I said, there was no artistic training in the background of it. So what I did was to practice the skill set, to practice carving and printing. So between these 2 pages, there is one trip to Japan. This was before I came to Japan, ever. Then before the next page, there was a 3-month trip to Japan where I visited a couple of craftsman shops. I visited Yu Yu Do and the Adachi shop for a very short visit. And both of those places I saw carvers and printers working and realized that there was a separation. You didn't have to draw your own designs. There was an honorable craft, just carving and printing. So the next 3 prints, these were made after the first visit to Japan, and there are now some rudimentary tools. These are all made on cherry wood, which was given to me, sold to me by Saiki-san, the master of Yu Yu Do at that time. And I had now some simple tools, and in fact, some of them, these are still in this box. This and this. That's it. These would be clearing chisels that I bought on that first trip to Japan. And these 3 prints would have been made with these same chisels in the sense of it's the same handle. The blade over time has worn down and been replaced. Probably twice, I don't really know. But this is the handles that I bought in Japan. And the carving knife I don't have because that has been totally worn out. The carving knife you see me using now, the blades get changed every few months, but the handle itself, I don't even know, this is the 3rd or 4th or 5th knife. I don't have any idea. So the knife that I used to carve these The handle is still in my box over in Ome, but it's long gone. But these are now done on some basic Japanese tools on cherry wood that I got from Saeki-san. This is before I had a chance to really watch craftsmen. I visited Adachi and Saeki, talked with just the master, had a peek into the workroom, didn't get any chance to talk to the craftsman, but at least I saw what was going on. And as I said, the concept that the artist and craftsman could be separated. Is this the trick we kept knocking on the door every day? No, that was next. That was years later, a couple of years later. So these are now, I came back to Canada, I got some books on ukiyo-e, and these would have been, for me, photocopied from an ukiyo-e book, pasted onto a piece of nice cherry wood and carved. And we're getting there. And if you just look at this, wow, look at this, that's cool. But if you look at it closely, it's a disaster. Again, I can't get into the eyes. I didn't know how to sharpen my tools. There's pops and clicks and chips everywhere. Doesn't matter. I'm on the way. These two would have been made from the same piece of wood, the front and back side. This was a piece of wood given to me by Adachi-san. When I bought some prints from him, he reached up to the shelf just as I was leaving, putting my shoes on, pulled a piece of wood up, said, "Here, see what you can do with this." A wonderful, wonderful gesture by the guy. Absolutely wonderful gesture. So I tried this first, and then on the back side I did this. So this would be number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, print number 8. And I'm now getting everything. There's actually the semblance of some taste coming into these lines bit by bit. We're still hacking away, chuck, 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 chuck. The lines that should be straight are wavery, wavery, wavery. There's no control here yet. But you can see this kid's going. He's on his way. If somebody came to me with a print like this, and if it was their first print or 5th print or 10th print, I would say, okay, let's come in, let's go somewhere. But if it was their 20th print or something, I'd be weary. If they're still this bad after making 20 prints, I don't know. But for me, being able to see them one by one by one, there's an absolute progression. Jump it up, jump it up. This kid was actually working hard to try and improve. I had no idea how to repair blocks. There's chips and mistakes and pops everywhere. And the colors. This is stuff out of watercolor tubes. It's semi-opaque. It's totally the wrong stuff to use, but I didn't know. I had never at this point ever spoken to a craftsman. And there you are, look at this. This is at the point now where I was already starting to think I could do this and maybe I could sell prints. This will be 1980 or 1981. And I was already thinking if I could quit my job at the music store, maybe I could sell prints. So I was starting to think about it. I had a stamp made. I stamped them on the back. I had some letterhead made. We'll talk about these things in the video. And I registered at some local craft fairs in Vancouver to take my woodblock prints. David Bowl, traditional Japanese woodblock printmaker, selling at craft fairs in Canada. It'd be about 1981, somewhere around there. So I'm not embarrassed about this stuff. I'm proud of this stuff, I guess. They're terrible prints, but whatever. The excuse is that I had no contact with craftsmen, didn't know what I was doing. There's no reason to be embarrassed about them at all. Where are the blocks? Those blocks for the first batch. The blocks for this stuff is long gone. Like I said, they went back into the fireplace. I was using wood. The house I was living in, the people upstairs had a big fireplace. We didn't in the basement. But the wood that they were going to burn in their fireplace was in the basement. So I chatted with the guy. He said, yeah, use whatever you want. I don't care. So I cut these prints on that fireplace wood. It wasn't even plain flat. I just had to try and muck around with it by myself. And after making my experiments, I just threw the wood back in the fireplace pile, and he must have taken it back upstairs and thrown it in his fireplace. It doesn't matter. They weren't intended to be editioned and reproduced and made. They were cutting experiments. But from here, these blocks, I think they must still be in Ome. These pieces of wood would not have been thrown away because I thought this was a thing and I wanted to perhaps publish it. So these blocks must be somewhere there in Ome. No idea what will happen to them, but anyway. Yeah, so Yeah, so it was an improvement. You know, I was trying hard to improve. I didn't know how to do it. I had no clear path. Like I said, I never even watched anybody working, you know. There's more. We'll talk about this later in the video. Oh my God, that one. Oh my God, that's one of the main stories that's going to come in the video. The Okadayoshi part. Anyway, sorry. I know it's a bit of a ramble. I said the video is a bit more sensibly prepared and sensibly talked. But I think that's it for today. As I said, I didn't prepare well enough work to do today. I'm sorry. Just I had to finish off those 2 separate jobs. So there we are. It's Saturday morning. Tomorrow, Sunday morning, will be the first test printing of the microwave print. And I'm not 100% confident about it. I know I can make a print. Whether I can make a print that will work in a party room is a different story altogether. That's still far from being clear. And I think we're going to hear a doorbell any second now. That'll be Kawai-san coming in. Did you hear that? That was actually the doorbell. The battery is on its last legs. Yeah, it's not going to work. The battery's dead. Okay, there we go. Bit of a strange stream this morning. Thanks for hanging in. Tomorrow morning, test printing on the microwave print, and we'll see what my future is going to be like. The doorbell just goes tonk. Okay. Thanks very much, gang, putting up with this. See you tomorrow for a real stream. Oh, before I go, I have a new world's record. You thought I wasn't going to talk about this. We came within a fraction of hitting 800 this morning. I thought, my God, if that goes over 800, everybody's going to be so not jealous, so angry at me. But it didn't go over 800. I tried it 2 or 3 times, and it didn't get to 800. Koizumi-san, good morning. 電源でしょ。そう、バッテリーがだんだんなくなったみたいです。頑張ってますか、バッテリーがないです。Okay, anyway, I'm out of here. See you tomorrow. Thank you very much, guys. Bye-bye.